Hello friends, this video on improvement in food resources part 7 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Now we will talk about the next topic, that is fertilizers. So fertilizer is the next thing that again helps in nutrient management. So let us now see what are fertilizers and how do they help to provide nutrients to the plants. Fertilizers are commercially produced plant nutrients. So in case of manure, it was produced by decomposition of wastes. In this case, they are commercially produced. That means they are produced in some factories or something. They are produced commercially. They result in higher yields and healthy plants. So they are very efficient. I mean, as soon as you apply some fertilizers, it will give better yield and it will improve the health of the plants also. So you can look at this example. In this picture, you can see the difference of using fertilizer and not using fertilizer. So on the left hand side, you see it says starved by lack of plant food. So no fertilizer was applied, nothing was done. So that means the soil did not have enough nutrients to fulfill the needs of the plant. But on the right hand side, if you see, it is nourished on phosphate and lime. So some additional nutrients are applied to this soil, and therefore you can see that this is all green. The right hand side is all green. There is a growth, but on the left hand side there is no growth of the plants, right? So application of fertilizers actually makes a difference, but then again we have to talk about everything. We will see whether there are some additional advantages of using fertilizers or there are some disadvantages also. So we will talk about that. So let us look at the advantages and disadvantages. Now let us first talk about the good things. First thing is that it provides nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium to the soil, and these are all being macronutrients are needed in large amounts by the plants. So this is the basic and the first advantage. Results in higher yields if given in proper dose. So this proper dosage is a very important thing as far as fertilizers are concerned, because if in case of fertilizers, if we do not give them in proper dose, then we might have to face some disadvantages as well. So proper dose and the timing at what interval the fertilizer has to be applied, or the pre-application and post-application precautions, all these things need to be taken care. Now let us look at the disadvantages. It can cause water pollution if followed by excessive irrigation. Let us suppose we have applied fertilizers to the crops in the field. Now as soon as we apply fertilizer, it is not that they will absorb it immediately. It will take some time, right? Now if immediately after the application of fertilizers there is too much of irrigation. What is irrigation? Irrigation means applying water to the soil. So if there is too much of watering to the crops, what will happen? The fertilizer will get washed away by the water. Now when the fertilizer gets washed away with the water, what happens to that water which is getting washed away? It gets polluted. Why? Because fertilizers are nothing but chemicals, right? So the chemicals are getting mixed in water, so the water is no more pure. It is getting polluted, and that is how it is causing water pollution. Again, excessive use can spoil soil fertility. Now if that's why I mentioned before also that when fertilizers are concerned, we have to take special care that they are applied on correct timings, they are applied in proper dosage, because if we apply too much of fertilizers, that can affect the soil fertility adversely. That means the soil can become less fertile. Why? Because too much fertilizer is nothing but chemicals. Now when so much of chemicals are being applied to the soil, there are so many microorganisms which are present inside the soil, and these microorganisms are the ones which actually help in decomposition, right? So what will happen? The microorganisms will get killed. So the microorganisms will be harmed, and also the organic matter which is present inside the soil, that can also be harmed. So the soil will not be able to restore. The soil will not be able to come back to its original form, because every time it tries to come back, we apply some fertilizer externally, right? So that is how the soil will lose its own fertility. So excessive application or very frequent application of fertilizers is never advisable. It has more disadvantages than advantages. Correct? Okay. So now let us talk about organic farming. What is organic farming? So now, till now we talked about only the nutrient management, which is a very important technique to improve the crop production, right? So here we have spoken about two different techniques. One was application of manures, the other one was application of fertilizers. Now, if you think about the pros and cons of both manures and fertilizers, what you see in case of manures, so in organic farming, so what is organic farming? It is a type of farming with no or minimum use of chemicals. So that means we saw both the advantages and disadvantages of manure and fertilizer. So what did we conclude? We conclude that manures have long-term benefit, because it is not that as soon as you apply manure, things will change. It is not like that. It will take time, because manures are first formed by decomposition of the plant and animal wastes, which itself will take some time. So manures will have long-term benefit, but at the same time, manures do not have any disadvantages as such. It doesn't cause any harm to the environment, no pollution, nothing. But in case of fertilizer, we will have short-term benefit. Immediately as soon as you apply fertilizers, you will see a change. But at the same time, with fertilizers, you have the risks of pollution. It might cause water pollution. Well, if not given in proper dose and proper timing, it can also harm the soil, right? So organic farming is farming with no or minimum use of chemicals. So that means this kind of farming actually encourages the use of manure. So maximum use of manures, healthy cropping patterns, these are some of the key points of organic farming. So we use more of manures, we try to minimize the use of fertilizers, because end of the day they are chemicals, right? And healthy cropping patterns. What do we mean by healthy cropping patterns? That means the way we are selecting the crops, which crop should be grown first, which crop should come next. So anyways we are going to talk about cropping patterns in the next topic, so things will anyways become clear to you, right? So this is organic farming. So now you understand why I mentioned before that as far as crop production management is concerned, this fact matters a lot, that how much money the farmer has. Because here also you see, in order to improve the nutrients, he needs to apply fertilizer. For fertilizer he needs money, he has to buy the fertilizers, right? So the amount of money he has is the amount of fertilizers that he'll be able to buy. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more videos, attempt free online test, get free study material, find tutors and mentors. Thank you once again.